Vegas Rock Dog Radio. Pets, people, pop culture. Let's bring on the host, Sam, the queen of rock and roll dogs.
Hello everyone, I'm Sam, the queen of rock and roll dogs and the host of Vegas Rock Dog Radio. On today's show, I'm talking about hedgehogs, dog trainers, and sharing some very, very good news. So stay right there.
Vegas Rock Dog Radio. Pets, people, pop culture.
Hi everyone, welcome to the show. I'm your host, Sam. I'm the queen of rock and roll dogs, and this is Vegas Rock Dog Radio. We're a rock and roll show all about pets, people, and pop culture. In studio with me today is Jim DeRico.
Hello.
And also Thornton and Mr. Twix. They've had a walk. They're having a nap. It's a good thing. And Miss Galaxy always looks down on us to make sure we do a really, really great show. I've got so much to talk about in this show, Jim. I don't know if you... in fact, to be honest with you, we barely get time to talk to each other during the week anyway, so I don't know if you know some of the stories we're going to talk about today or not.
Today will be lots of surprises for me.
Lots of surprises.
Yep.
Before we get started, let's talk about where else you can find us on the internet. So here we go. Our main website is vegasrockdogradio.com. We will pop up on Periscope, which if you don't know about Periscope, it's actually it came before Facebook Live and all of those great things, and Twitter actually purchased Periscope. So that's where we pop up. We pop up on Twitter. So if you follow us on Twitter, and we pop up on Periscope, you'll be notified on your Twitter account. Quite easy. Of course, we're on Facebook and, of course, Twitter, because I just mentioned it. And we're on Pinterest, Tumblr, and Instagram. We do have a blog, and I just posted a really fabulous post yesterday. And that is the rockandrolldog.com. And we do have an app. And the app it's the Vegas Rock Dog Radio app. It's free. And so you'll go to yap.us. That's yapp.us. It's free. Download the app onto your phone and then download the show onto the app. That's how that works. And of course, if you don't catch the live show, then of course you can find us on iTunes, iHeartRadio, Spreaker, SiriusXM, you name it. And we just got on Alexa, Amazon Alexa. And we just got on Sonos, not sure. I would say Sonos. I'm not sure how you pronounce that. Sonos. You can find us everywhere.
I think it's Sonos.
So just look for us. Okay, thanks, Jim. Just look for us. You'll find us. I just mentioned the blog. So the post that I put on last night, you will have seen this. You've seen the matching pajamas for humans and their pets.
Is that the good news today?
No, I got some really great news. Oh, it's so good. It's just so good. It'll make everybody happy. Well, everybody's raving about these pajamas, and I got tagged. So many times. I do buy pajamas for the dogs, and we do buy new pajamas at Christmas. But I've never really been able to find really great ones that match anyway. We kind of tried to make them match, color-wise at least. But now you can find your own matching pajamas. So I scanned Amazon and I put my pics on the blog. So go to the rockandrolldog.com and you'll see them on there. Click any of those fabulous images. It would be very hard to decide because there are so many fabulous designs. And I just love that they're, I say for the entire family. Not for the entire family. They're for the entire family, including your pets. And so it's exciting because it just makes for great photo ops, doesn't it? It makes for a cute family photo when everybody's in matching pajamas. And who doesn't love new pajamas? And you need...
I don't. I love old pajamas.
There's no reason for Jim to be wearing pajamas right now. Pajama bottoms with a big rip up one leg. There's just no reason for that.
They're just comfy.
There's just no excuse
It's like
for
T-shirts for me. Older the better.
that. I don't like that.
I'm different.
I love new pajamas and I love fresh sheets on the bed.
And I love old T-shirts and old pajamas with rips in them.
Gross. Okay. We need to start with the good news. We just need to start with the good news. This is so exciting. This is so exciting. We have talked about Nosey the elephant a lot in this show. We've talked about elephants in the circus as well as other animals, forced to perform in terrible conditions, trapped so badly. And there's nothing worse than see these animals just isolated with psychological problems because they don't get to interact with other animals and not in a positive way with humans. And so Nosey the elephant finally has been seized. She's been seized from I'll tell you the story basically. The Lawrence County District Court in Alabama, they issued a seize order on her behalf. And people have fought for this elephant, in particular my friend Carrie LeBlanc with Compassion Works International. She's based here in Vegas. She's an international organization, animal advocacy. She has a lot to do with circus animals and getting them released and getting footage and photographs and documentation and then filing complaints to get these animals out of these conditions. And I'll say a big thank you to Carrie for that. She's just not wavered one bit. She's just stuck with the course, and it's been one heck of a battle. I mean, it really, really has for a very, 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 very long time. But basically, she's lame. Poor thing. She is, Nosey is lame. She was found tightly chained, confined in her own waste, and without proper shelter. And she was removed from conditions very familiar to all who have tracked her abuse for years. And they're thanking the authorities for seizing Nosey and the court for its decision to transfer this long-suffering elephant into caring hands. All these organizations are continuing to pledge to keep working for the rest of these elephants to get them out anyway.
Is she going to head to the elephant sanctuary?
That's exactly where she is right now.
Oh.
She arrived, but she was held captive by notorious exhibitor Hugo Leibel, who used her for rides and shows. And he was cited by the U.S. Department of Agriculture, that's USDA, get this, for nearly 200 animal welfare violations. You see, this is the problem. This is the problem with the USDA. How do you get to have 200 animal violations and then not escalate to confiscation of animals? How does it get to that point? It takes having to go to a court. So the system is not there.
Yeah, they can write the ticket, but they can't walk their talk. Maybe, I don't know.
Or they just don't have the next level in place, and it needs to be in place. To me, that's an embarrassment. 200 violations. 200. I'm sorry, that's wrong. Anyway, we're not backing down, and we're just going to keep sharing their information and getting that information out there. It's brilliant. Also, some ponies were removed. Yeah, some cute little ponies were removed. And there's a video of them, Jim, running free in a field. It's what dreams are made of. That's what we wish for all these animals, to be able to be free, to be ponies, to be elephants, to interact with other elephants and ponies. It's absolutely brilliant. But let me read you the update on this. Here we go. And she arrived safely at the Elephant Sanctuary in Hohenwald, Tennessee. Tell people how big Hohenwald is, Jim.
Little town.
Tiny, tiny town. We used to live in Nashville. Jim used to teach in Hohenwald. And it's a tiny little place. There's this, a true elephant sanctuary. And African elephant Nosey arrived safely at the sanctuary in Tennessee late Thursday night after she was confiscated, as we said earlier. The sanctuary will be a temporary refuge for Nosey until the court makes a final ruling. I'm just hoping that once she's there, they see how well she's going to do,
Well, where else can an
There's
elephant
no-
do better?
There's
really?
no better place. There really is no better place. So I'm sure it will go the way that everybody expects. The sanctuary's veterinary and husbandry teams greeted Nosey upon her arrival with fresh cut produce, bamboo and banana leaves. And it's a big deal when these elephants show up, isn't it, Jim? Because we have a little story, don't we? We have mentioned it on the show, but it's absolutely worth mentioning it again. I will at the end of this story. And it is a big deal. It's a celebration when they arrive. And they said that she was monitored through the night and reported that she showed calm interest in her new surroundings. So she wasn't freaked out. She is a very old elephant, though. And over the next week, she will be kept separate from the other elephants as her health and individual needs are evaluated. And they do keep the African elephants separate from the Indian elephants anyway in the sanctuary. And they applaud those who have worked so tirelessly on Nosey's behalf. The sanctuary staff is committed to providing the highest standard of care for Nosey during her time at the elephant sanctuary. Oh, and they do. Unbelievable. Anyway, she was born in Zimbabwe, Jim.
So she was a wild elephant.
In 1982. And she was captured from the wild in 1984. So she knew what it was like to be a real elephant living wild and free. And then she was captured and she was sent to Ocala, which is in Florida. And then in 86, she was transferred to David Meeks of the Meeks Company in South Carolina. Then she was purchased. And you see all this moving them around, horrible, just awful. Very frightening as well for any animal. She was purchased by Hugo Leibel in 1988 and has been traveling with that circus ever since. How many years is that?
Wow.
98, 2008, nearly 30 years. The Elephant Sanctuary is the largest natural habitat refuge developed specifically for endangered elephants, located, this is going to blow your mind, this is going to make you so happy, 2,700 acres in Hohenwald, Tennessee. It's 85 miles southwest of Nashville. And it exists to provide captive elephants with individualized care, the companionship of a herd, and the opportunity to live out their lives in a safe haven, dedicated to their well-being and raise public awareness of the complex need of elephants in captivity and the crisis elephants face in the wild. Now, of course, if you would like to support the elephant sanctuary, then you would just go to elephants.com. Or you can go to shop.elephants.com. You can find them on Facebook. I will put the link up. This is our story with the Elephant Sanctuary. We were back in Nashville a couple of years ago, weren't we, Jim? Mm-hmm. And that's where we used to live. And we went to find the little chapel that we got married in. And while we were there, trying to take a selfie of ourselves and try and get the church in the picture as well. Bit difficult sometimes. There was another couple there clearly doing the same thing, so we offered to take their photos. They offered to take ours. We got chit-chatting. We said, are you from Nashville? They said, actually from Hohenwald. And we said, oh, we know Hohenwald. And they were dumbfounded that we even knew where that was. We explained we used to live there. We explained we were in town for a pet conference and how much we loved animals. And she was, oh my gosh, since you love animals, let my husband tell you this story. And I can't remember the elephant's name for the life of me. And I must get on YouTube. I will be able to find it. And basically her husband was the guy that picked up this particular elephant from the circus and drove it from Florida all the way up to Tennessee to live out its life. And that video, like I say, it's a celebration. That video shows up, that truck shows up, and it's just amazing. And he said he felt it was such an honor to be able to drive this elephant to freedom.
Yeah, it was amazing.
It was. I mean, to me, of our trip, that was the highlight of my entire trip, meeting that couple. And I really wish we'd kept their information, because I would have loved to have them on the show. Maybe I can find out, because I'm sure it probably says on the video who the driver was. But just a brilliant. When I read that Nosey was going there, and it's the only place I believe they should go, incredible. Here's the thing: sanctuary. Hey, safe haven, sanctuary. It's a term that's thrown around too loosely. There need to be some real qualifications, designations to be able to say you're a sanctuary. And a sanctuary is supposed to mimic their natural environment. So a natural environment for an elephant doesn't include feeding an elephant for a day, selfies with an elephant, riding an elephant. None of those things constitute being a sanctuary. So if you believe you're going to a sanctuary, but you're going to feed a giraffe for a day, or you can have some photographs with lions, it's not a sanctuary. They are using those animals for profit, still using them for profit, whether they brought them into their sanctuary or, like a lot of these sanctuaries do, they buy them. And they buy them for profit. So the elephant sanctuary, no, you cannot buy a ticket and go and see them. Nope, you cannot go and have photos. You can't feed them for a day. That's it. They get to live out their lives in peace with each other, and there's so much for them to do.
The most you can do is like maybe get a chance to be an observer.
Well, no, I don't think you can with that. They do have an educational center in the town, and you can go to the educational educational facility and learn about elephants, and they'll do their fundraisers there. But there's none of this.
You don't drive into the...
No, there's no exploiting these animals.
Safari.
No. And it's just incredible. So if you want to know what a sanctuary is, head over to their website. They have alley cams. The elephants are live. You can get to see them that way. And it's the way it should be. If you have to take an elephant out of a terrible situation, it's the next best thing to being in the wild. It really is. 2,700 acres. I can't even get my head around how big that is. But they know about elephants. They know the needs of elephants and you know, the different types of elephants and the kind of stimulation they need, the kind of food they need, the medical care. I'm just really happy. A lot of people are this week. It's just the most brilliant news. And you just think to yourself, I mean, she was born 80, what was it? 80, what year was
82.
She? Was it 82, 83? So how old does that make her?
34.
She's 30, born in 82. 82, 92, 202, 212, 35.
Or 4.
35. She's worked her whole life. She's not been able to be an elephant other than the first couple of years of her life. Oh, I couldn't ask for a better ending for her. It's just brilliant, absolutely. And there's little ponies too. As I say, I post all these videos up for you and these great links so that you can donate and help them continue this incredible work that they do. Talking about incredible work, Jim.
Go on then.
Hedgehog lady, Joan Lockley, our friend.
What's Joan up to?
I'll tell you what Joan's up to. Miss Joan was, featured as one of the 100 Masters, yeah? 100 Masters, it's an arts campaign to identify contemporary skilled people from the Black country and help inspire future talent. This year-long regional campaign aims to inspire and offer local people a fresh perspective about the skills, strengths, talent, and expertise surfacing from their locality and community. Now, do you know what the Black country is in England?
No, I was going to ask you, but I figured you'd say.
Yeah, the Black country was forged at the hands of men and women from all walks of life who had honed their skills to the highest levels. It was through their craftsmanship and diligence that the region became renowned as the industrial heartland of the UK.
Like the blacksmiths, like the Black country.
Well, that's one of the skills. Black country is determined by the metropolitan boroughs of Dudley, Sandwell, Walsall, and the city of Wolverhampton, and it's an area of 356 square kilometres. Yeah?
Okay.
So there you go. That's it. Very, very skilled people there.
Like Harry Potter, the black arts,
Black
magic, and all things come from there too then, don't they?
Not really, but okay. So she was featured, and what Joan has is a hedgehog rescue. We've had her on the show before. I'll put the link up so that you can actually listen to the show. She's a scintillating personality, isn't she, Jim? She is. I just loved her. And now let me tell you a little bit about Joan. And this was from their actual 100 Master write-up about her. And they said, have you ever heard of a hosprickle? Well, we have, actually. Neither had we until we were introduced to hedgehog rescuer Joan Lockley. Joan rescued her first hedgehog in 2000, and she's been, oh my gosh, 17 years is a long time. Most people don't last in rescue that long. And she went on to set up the West Midlands Hedgehog Rescue. Even though our prickly little nocturnal friends might be shy, Joan has managed to rescue 650 so far this year. And hedgehogs are in decline in the UK, with an estimated 30% of the population lost since 2002. And that has a lot to do with the development of the lands. And there's nowhere for them to live. It's kind of driving them out. Over the years, she's become this expert in caring for injured, orphaned, and ill hedgehogs. Her expertise covers all areas of hedgehog welfare, from nutrition for hoglets to feeding and rehabilitation prior to release back into the wild. So the goal is always to release them back into the wild. And Joan has a purpose-built hospital, and it has a little sign on the outside of it where she cares for those hedgehogs and she treats minor injuries.
Are they really called hoglets?
I think they are, actually, Jim. And she never turns a hedgehog away, as you know, because we've interviewed her. And to date, she's rescued over 6,000 hedgehogs in 17 years. It's a lot. Anyway, Joan is always keen to educate people about hedgehog welfare, and she holds regular talks. She's out in the community. People know about her all over the UK. Over the years, she's known a number of hedgehog carers who are sadly no longer able to continue their good work, and this has led to far more hedgehogs having to be taken in by Joan, who is one of the few hedgehog carers remaining in Staffordshire. Despite the long hours, and they are long hours, I think she only gets like 4 hours sleep, bless her, and the constant need to fund vet bills and food for the hogs, Joan has persevered, and she really has. And she's got quite the personality, hasn't she, Jim? She's funny, and she's a no bones about it, straight talking, which I love about people, and she understands the commitment it takes. And we see it a lot in rescue. People want to get on board and they never follow through, or they don't want to do this part of it. And she does it all. She does it all. And if you are that kind of person like Joan, and you're in that area and you want to help out, get hold of her through the link that I put on the Facebook page. She needs people who are committed, and committed no matter what aspect you have to get involved in. Sometimes it's just not very nice. Anyway, she during the busiest times of the year, she will be feeding through the night. She just does, because it's important that they get their weight up to a certain weight.
Weight and temperature, I remember.
Yeah, I've forgotten how many grams it was, but they have to be at a certain weight by a certain time in order for them to survive the season. Anyway, she'll be up through the night feeding these hoglets, as well as running the hospital throughout the day. And she's held in high esteem by a local vet to work with her as she strives to seek the best care for the hedgehogs who are brought to her. A lot of people really have a very high opinion of her. Anyway,
the rock stars stay in touch with her.
Oh yes, we're talking Brian May of Queen, because you know he's a big animal advocate, particularly for badgers. And in 2015, Joan was awarded this is a big deal, the International Fund for Animal Welfare Award, and it was the Exceptional Services to Wildlife. Joan has also been featured on television with Julian Clary's Nature Nuts series. And for more information, you can watch a short film about Joan and her work. And I'm going to put that up for you to watch that. She's 71. She's 71. And she won the IFAW Animal Action Award. And that was presented to her in the House of Lords. That is just such an honor. Not that Joan's going out there trying to get awards, but when you get them and you realize people recognize the work that you're doing, it does give you a big boost. It really does, to keep going. And it's tough work. It's really, really tough work. So I will post this link from the 100 Masters website. And congratulations to our lovely friend Joan. So let's take a quick break. That's what we need to do right now. On the other side, we're going to talk a little bit about wolves and dogs and other fun things. So stay right there. You're listening to Vegas Rock Dog Radio with me, Sam, your host, the Queen of Rock and Roll Dogs.
Vegas Rock Dog Radio. Pets, people, pop culture.
Pet Scene Magazine is dedicated to Las Vegas pets and the people who love them. It's a source of news and information for pet lovers, as well as offering valuable coupons and specials on pet products and services. Find them online at www.lvpetscene.com or look for them on Facebook.
At Carl's Jr., not only do we make you happy with our delicious charbroil burgers, we also make your dogs happy. Come through our drive-thru with your furry friends and we'll offer them a treat. We love to see their smiling faces. Our website, carlsjroflasvegas.com, has a treat in store for its customers too, with free coupons anytime, so visit us often. Coles Jr. is a proud and active supporter of animal adoption in our community. You can find us at colesjroflasvegas.com.
Vegas Rock Dog Radio. Pets, people, pop culture.
Welcome back, everyone. We're on the other side of the commercial. And we're talking about wolves and we're talking about dogs. I still keep seeing this dreadful myth that dogs are pack animals. Well, they're not. Even the gentleman that came up with the original science saying that dogs are pack animals, he then did more research and came back and had to change his whole findings and say they're not. Wolves are, dogs are not. And here's another thing that dogs are not. Well, wolves work very well in pairs. They, of course, work well in packs because that's what they do. And that's what they do to survive, to eat. Yeah? So they do work together. And dogs are not so much, yeah? So the science experiment shows how wolves work as a pack to retrieve food using the rope pull method. And the dogs didn't do so well. And the rope pull method, and you've probably seen it a million times before, it's done with lots of different animals, done with birds, it's done with monkeys, elephants. Basically, it's food on what looks like a tray, on like rails, and there are two ropes, and they have to, together, whatever the animal is, or a single animal, pull the rope and it pulls the tray out and the food's on it, yeah, and how they have to figure out how to get this food out. So that's the rope pull test. And so wolves are excellent at working together. You see it repeatedly. They run up, they figure it out, they grab a rope each, they pull it, boom, there's the food. Oh, they got it first time, no problem whatsoever. And repeatedly, success, 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 even to the point where one of the wolves ran out ahead of his friend, pulled on the rope, and then waited and looked back for his friend to come to help.
Wow. I need to see that.
Very, very, very smart animals, but that's instinctual for them to work as a pack, particularly when it comes to food. So when the dog let out, the dog ran up, they could see the food, but how the heck were they going to get it? They were frustrated, and they could not figure out that they need to pull this rope. They pull both the ropes, and they just didn't figure it out. And so the reason they're saying, why is this? Well, we know that our dogs depend on us for food. We deliver the food. We're like Uber Eats for dogs. We just show up with the food. We show up with the treats. We prepare it.
They learn so well that they tell us when it's time for them to eat.
And that as well, exactly. They probably were at that tray of food saying, serve me. What is this about? What is this about? And the dogs just didn't do very well, probably because they are, probably because I said that twice. I sound like something from The Wizard of Oz. What's that song? Because of the wonderful things.
The Wizard of Oz song.
There you go.
The Song of Oz.
The Song of Oz. They depend on us. It's as simple as that. Now, dogs do, however, work very, very well with humans. And as we know, they are fantastically skilled at many things. They, like bomb and drug detection. They service humans, skateboarding, surfing. I mean, very, very skilled at those things and easily adapt to those kind of skills. But they did. What the heck was that?
A hiccup.
Oh my God.
I didn't see it coming.
Now, even highly skilled search and rescue dogs didn't fare very well either on this rope test.
Right.
Isn't that interesting? It's really interesting. And since dogs evolved from the wolf, they were wondering at what point did they lose those pack skills? And was it the relationship with man? Was it the bond with the man, the dependence on the man, and the man supporting them?
Probably
it's like a codependent relationship.
Makes sense. Oh, I don't have to do it for myself. I got him to do it for me. I'll hang out with him then.
Maybe they're cleverer than we think they are. So I thought it was a very, very interesting video. I love that there's this continued science. Yeah,
maybe it's not that they
on.
Can't pull on the rope. Maybe they're going, you pull on the rope.
Yeah,
for me.
They're going, really? You expect me to pull on the rope? I'll post the video. You'll enjoy it. You'll enjoy watching the dogs run up and go, what? What's going on? I see the food. Why is the food not here in front of me? Very, very interested. Well, I've got some more good news. I've talked many times on the show about the qualifications of dog trainers, and I feel like
the lack thereof.
The lack thereof, and the lack of oversight, the lack of, what's the word?
Qualification.
As in when you start a business.
Oh.
That you don't have legit qualifications, you don't have insurance, lots of them don't have insurance, there's no standard there, and you don't know who you're going to get, and most people will judge a trainer basically on how they like the person, which is, it's a small factor. It's not everything, though. They very few people actually go online and actually find out what qualifications should they have. What should I be looking for? What's the questions? They like the person, and they might like the result. Often they don't understand if the result is the result of adversive training methods. People can be very easily swayed. Like, oh, I saw a result. How was your dog trained? Shock collar. Okay. Yeah, the dog's terrified, so it's going to comply. It's a very tricky world. It's a very tricky world. It's a very dangerous world. It's a very dangerous world. You're asking someone to take your dog into their hands. And at all costs, I say never, ever send your pets off to a training facility that you are not there. You need to train with your dog. You need to be with your dog. You need to see what's going on. Absolutely don't do that. There are some horrific stories coming out. Horrific. Anyway, here's the good news. Enough of that. Here's the good news. And this is in regards to the dog training world. So, this is out of Tampa. Dog trainers would have to obtain a license and agree to training plans with owners under an ordinance Hillsborough County Commissioners will consider next week. So we'll wait to see what happens. County officials have called the proposed regulations, that's the word I was looking for dog trainers, dubbed Truth in Training. I love that title in of itself.
Right.
It's the first of the kind in the country.
Okay, so they've got some influential people behind it, obviously. So
either influential or people that get it when they present what they want to do with this ordinance. That's a big part of it. We're going through that right now in Vegas, and I'm going to tell you about that after. It's important that you can present why you want a certain bill to go in or law to go into place, and that the person receiving that information fully understands that. They don't always seek out the right information, and they don't always seek out the right people to get the right information.
Or people are influenced by whoever was the last person to chew on their ear a little bit.
What does that mean?
In other words, like, well, I'll vote this way because so-and-so told me that's what they think.
Oh, well, that happens too. It happens
and the
too.
People that have the better information, maybe sometimes they don't get up,
They don't get consulted, or they try to communicate with these people and they never get a meeting. As someone that researches so much for this show, I find it outrageous when local councilmen and commissioners do not do the due diligence of research on a bill that they get to vote on that decides the fate of a lot of, what happens with people, what happens with animals, those kind of things. And we'll get to that in a minute, based on our local story. So, Tampa, yes, thumbs up for this one. Obviously, they've got people who have got, they're thinking on the right track. They're on the right track with this because so much happens with dog trainers, yeah? Anyway, they've dubbed it the Truth in Training, first of the kind in the country. This is a bit I really like. Trainers would have to provide their credentials to the county for publication and have liability insurance of at least $100,000. Now, I'd be curious as to if they're going to accept only certain qualifications, which I would hope that would be the case, because not all of them are equal. We know that much. And I think this is a fantastic step in the right direction. They must also undergo a local and federal background check. I love that. And trainers convicted of animal cruelty would be barred from working in the county. And I love that. This is just a good day for news. It gives the consumer that peace of mind when making that decision. County Commissioner Al Higginbotham.
No, that's very English.
It is. Said at a November 1st board meeting, a public hearing, a vote on the ordinance is expected November 15th. So I am hoping I'm going to give you some very good news the following week. At the last commission meeting, opponents, this always cracks me up, opponents of the proposal came out in full force, countering advocates who filled an October commission meeting to rally support for the ordinance. Many speakers at the November meeting were animal trainers in similar professions or their allies who criticised the legislation as restrictive and burdensome to small businesses. In what way is that burdensome? What, you don't want to spend the money to go and actually get trained? You don't want us to know who you are?
You don't want the other consumers to. You want the consumer not to know what your training is or qualifications.
Yeah. You're worried that
slanted. It sounds.
You're worried that someone's going to go and seek out a well-qualified trainer now that's published on there, and you won't be able to compete. Oh, you're a shot collar training trainer.
Right.
There's not one good reason to not support this. So when you start looking as to why people wouldn't support it, it's usually money. It's usually horrible practices, not qualified, don't want to pay a business license, maybe not paying their taxes. There's many, many things there, which none of those they don't fall into the fold of animal welfare, which is important when it comes to dog trainers. It's very, very important in the safety of your pets. So I found that quite interesting that they found it burdensome. You know what? The rest of us, we all buy a business license. We're all qualified in what we do. We have to disclose it. Just get with it. Get with the program. It's just ridiculous.
They're just trying to
circumvent
slip. I can't speak. I'm like slip through and sneak.
Yeah, it's just
slippy, sneaky.
It's unacceptable. As you can tell, I take no prisoners. I just take no prisoners, do I, Jim?
Nope.
You know what? We should play your famous clip. The famous clip that I play when I'm trying to get people to get it together. Your chair's making some inappropriate noises, Jim.
Well, we still have some mobility issues from what we mentioned.
Are you ready? Here we go. I hope you can hear this. But this clip of Jim applies to so many things. It's a Snapchat clip. Here we go.
You better get it together. Get it together. Right now.
One more time.
You better get it together. Get it together. Right now.
When my sisters are trying to plan something to go out and they're all disorganized and they don't know what's going on, I just post that video. So there's more to this story. Kendall Duncan of Canine Cabana, in Riverview, said the new license would give dog owners a false sense of security because the trainer is registered with the Hillsborough County. And even though there are no standards set forth, there's no one overseeing this process. If that's the case, the process has to be put in place. It has to be. And like I say, only the best of the best training qualifications should be accepted. Just get it together.
Have they decided if they're going to accept the shock people? And
yeah. Pet Resources within the last 4 years has closed 16,826 dog abuse cases, and not one was related to dog training. I bet that's not the case, said Judy Seltrek, an appointed member of the county's Animal Advisory Committee. Sometimes these advisory committees are not great. I will be honest with you. I'm not saying hers isn't, but sometimes you don't have the most qualified people on those either. Anyway, she asked commissioners to send the ordinance back to her panel for further review. I find that interesting. I find that very interesting. I can tell you now of abuse cases in Florida right now because I've talked about them on the show. Mm-hmm. Right now that are pending. Animal abuse cases in Florida by dog trainers. So I'm not sure where that comes up. That's a lot of abuse cases, though. But Higginbotham, who has shepherded the ordinance through the commission, wanted to push ahead. He said criticism of the proposal was born out of a misunderstanding of its scope. It would not prohibit trainers from using certain techniques or practices. It would not.
Well, at least you'd have to disclose what your techniques were, and the consumer can choose.
That's the problem, yeah. There you go. I think they should also not allow them to use the word e-collar and remote collar training. They need to call it what it is with shock collar. I think that's really important, and prong collar. Because then, like you say, there's got to be some truth in this. There has to be truth in this so that they know what they're getting into. They have to then sign off on a training plan at the onset. So basically there's none of this, I didn't know what they were going to do, or I explained it to you and you knew what we were going to do and they say I didn't. Now you will know exactly what's going on, and that does give you another level of choice. It is intended to prevent trainers from using what some may deem forceful tactics without permission. Yep, I agree. Veterinarians, service dog trainers, shelters and non-profits or volunteer organizations would be exempt. Veterinarians, service dog trainers, shelters. Why?
Because that's their common training practice, isn't it?
No. Veterinarians don't use...
Service dog providers.
They don't use shock collars? Is that what you're saying?
Yeah.
No.
Don't the law enforcements and the militaries do?
Service dogs. Law enforcement do.
Yeah.
Service dogs. Shelters and non-profits don't. 4 violations of the ordinance would result in a revocation of the business license. 4? Make it 1. That incident in which an animal is severely harmed could mean immediate shutdown. Good. It doesn't take away training tools. He said it's a transparent way for the consumer and the trainer and their furry loved ones to have input on what the training is. Yeah, I agree. Catalyst for the dog training ordinance is Laura Childers. Oh, I know her name. Of Lando Lakes, and more precisely, Sarge, her Shih Tzu, Shih Tzu, Pekingese, mixed puppy, Sarge, was fatally injured at a pet daycare 2 years ago. Childers said after an impromptu training session, it just went awry. So there's no other details, but it sounds terrible. Childers has lobbied the county and the state in the past year to prevent future dog injuries. What a great person. We have to start somewhere, she said, and she told the Tampa Bay Times, the trainers I'm working with want regulation. They're all for it. They just want it to be done so meaningful. Drafting the ordinance took 10 months, a half year longer than expected, in part because no other municipality had similar legislation on the books to model, said Deborah Cromartie-Mincy, who is the senior assistant county attorney. This is going to
You mean Deborah?
Deborah. D-E-B-O-R-A. Deborah. Like Desiree.
Weird. I think that's Deborah. It's a weird spelling, though.
It's very weird. And there's a capital B in the middle of it. This is going
it is Deborah.
Yeah. This is going to give an opportunity for Hillsborough County to get on the map. I think it's great. And with anything that starts out that's new, it's bound to take shape over time. And I'm sure they'll update, add to it, and refine it. And it's a wonderful start. And like I said, they had no other to model it off. They're pioneering it. I think it's brilliant. Absolutely brilliant. Well, Jim, let's take one quick break, and then we'll be right back. And we're going to talk about a very good topic that when I read it, I'm like, yes, I get this. And I think many of you will. So we'll be right back. You're listening to Vegas Rock Dog Radio with me, Sam, your host, the queen of rock and roll dogs.
Vegas Rock Dog Radio. Pets, people, pop culture.
Welcome to Barking Dog Self-Washing Grooming, your one-stop shop for all your pet's needs. We offer premium natural pet foods, full-service grooming, and an on-site bakery and boutique. You can choose to self-wash your dog or schedule a luxury pampering with our professional groomers. Visit our Cool Cat section offering feline food, toys, bedding, and litter, while the adventurous dog department has everything you need for your outdoor activities. And don't forget Cody's Healing Garden, featuring flower, aromatherapy, and herbal remedies for pets. Find us at www.barkingdogslv.com and we look forward to seeing you in our neighbourhood.
Vegas Rock Dog Radio. Pets, people, pop culture.
And welcome back to the show, everyone. This is Jim. I am here because Sam and the dogs had to go take care of something, and they're heading back into the studio as we speak. Don't forget, the easiest way to listen to the show is to go to vegasrockdogradio.com and hit the Listen Live link. I know that we have 2,037 formats that we have the show on, but if you go to vegasrockdogradio.com, there's a quick, easy Listen Live link right there for you. And speaking of the host of the show, guess who's back?
Did you panic?
Where did you go?
Let's have a wee.
This is your show.
There's only 2 times in 5 years that I've gone and had a wee in the middle of the show.
Why did you say that to the people?
Because I'm honest. I'm very honest.
I guess you are. Okay, what do you had something you were going to tell us all now.
Yeah. Great article. I think a lot of you will relate to this and agree to this and maybe change how you do things yourself. And the title of this piece is My Dog is Not a Petting Zoo. Dr. Sarah Boston, she's a veterinary surgical oncologist and a public speaker. She's also the author of a best-selling book called Lucky Dog, and it's been described as a very hilarious memoir. Anyway, she wrote this piece, and it struck a chord with me. And she writes how a dog is a constant companion. He goes with her to pet-friendly restaurants. He's the absolute joy of her life, and she's clearly his biggest fan. And as a phrase I used last week, I also bet that he's her favorite topic to talk about. Yeah, as are most of our pets anyway. It's funny because we go out sometimes, and it eventually goes down a path of animals, always. And I love that. I just love that. One thing that she states very clearly after gushing about him is that what he is not, however, is a petting zoo.
In other words, he's not there for peoples.
What does she mean by that, you may ask? Sarah states that he is not here to entertain other people, and he is definitely not here for amusement of children. She says, it may sound harsh, maybe it is, but she has a point, and here is her point. I used to let anyone who asked, any kid or adult, pet my dog Rumble. I would let them interrupt me, my meal, my conversation, my blog writing, and then pet him. I would make him sit and submit to being petted, even though he doesn't really like affection from strangers that much. Even though I can see it makes him feel a bit insecure and stressed, especially if the petting goes on for too long, or if the people start commanding him to do things like shake a paw. Why do people do that? It's so weird. I think that is incredibly weird. I've always said this. Why?
It's very common.
Why does your dog need to do that? Why does your dog need to learn how to shake a paw? For what reason? That's just entertainment. Why?
I don't know. That's how Western people greet each other. So maybe they think that the dog doing that is part of the culture. I don't know.
I don't think that's that at all.
Maybe.
I
think
it's just to entertain them. Because there's no benefit for the dog. What's the benefit?
Nothing.
There is no benefit. Exactly. I love the fact that she wrote that. It's so weird. It is. I told myself it was a good socialization for him. And it was when he was a puppy, but now he's a dog. He is fully formed. The bottom line is that he is a herding dog. He's not that cuddly. Even with me, snuggles are not his thing, and he does not seek out or particularly enjoy random petting from strangers. He just wants to sit near me quietly. He's extremely obedient. A lot of people ask me if he is a service dog because he is so calm and quiet. And a few months ago, she was out at dinner at one of her favorite places. Okay, she says, that is not even true. It had a dog-friendly patio and mediocre food, so I went there. The sacrifices we make. It's true, though. You will go to a lesser coffee shop because they've got a nice little patio and they bring your dog a treat. You will totally do that, won't you, Jim?
Yeah, we've done it.
But she went there. Anyway, she says partway through her mediocre meal, a minivan rolled up and a woman with somewhere between 4 and 12 small children between the ages of 1 and 8, and they streamed out of this vehicle. I can age a stray dog within a few months, but I'm not very good with packs of small children. They were a handful. I would have felt sorry for this woman, but, choices. I love how she writes. I need to find one of her speeches because I bet she's hilarious. Anyway, except for being loud, the gang of small children at the next table left us to our own devices while they were feeding. As the pack started to finish up, they started to look around for other things to do. They spotted my sweet, sweet dog lying under the table, quietly minding his own business. 2 of the children descended on him. Their mother was tending to a 1 to 3 year old infant, and she's got a question mark there because she doesn't know the age, who was wailing and crying, so she let them go. They were on their hands and knees trying to get to my dog. They didn't ask. She then came over to our table, and another couple of children joined the kids trying to get to my dog. She was holding the screaming infant/toddler directly over my dog, trying to stop him from crying by saying, "Look at the puppy! Puppy dog!" I will just give you a moment to try and imagine what happened next. Take your time. Okay, he didn't bite anyone, but he gave a warning lunge, and it scared me because he could have bitten one of the kids, and I should have shut it all down sooner. I finally said, "Okay, I think that is enough. You need to leave him alone now." I was mortified and almost started crying. Even though this is actually completely normal behavior for a dog, he was just giving a warning that he wanted to be left alone. Still, I was also feeling somewhat ashamed of him for being a bad dog. If he had bitten, it would have been completely my fault, and I might get sued, or much worse, have to destroy my dog, my heart. It was a terrible experience, but I'm grateful for it because it woke me up. My dog is not here for everyone else. He is here for me. He is not a toy. He is my best friend. Sarah expresses how it's her job to protect him from stressful situations where he might hurt someone or get into trouble. And she agrees he must be well socialized and well behaved, and he is, but she will not feel obliged to let anyone who wants to pet him say hello just because they want to. And I agree with her 100% on this. I really do. And while we're at it, I don't think dogs like being petted on the head either. What do you think? I don't.
No, they always kind of back away a little bit,
Yeah.
or like try to maneuver.
I try and do the underneath thing, and that's only if they're comfortable with me interacting with
you
their
want to
dog.
present them your hand, not hide your hand from them.
So this is what she started to do. She started saying no sometimes, mostly to children, because I think they are the most at risk for a negative interaction. Here's how I decide. If the kid is rude, loud, unruly, comes running up to the dog, doesn't ask me if they can pet him, or if I think the parents are just trying to distract their child with my dog plaything, I just politely say no. I can spot the parents that see my dog as a toy because they are usually exiting the restaurant with a crying kid. Rumble and I, the unsuspecting targets on the patio. I can see the desperation in their eyes as they scan the patio and parking lot for something, anything for their kid to focus on so they stop crying. Nope, not my Rumble. Not today. Keep on walking.
I do that when I'm walking with my dogs.
Yeah.
Kids, "Oh, dog," and they run up to your dog, and I go, "No." I just give them the hand.
Yes. Yeah.
No.
They get a physical barrier and they get a no. And she just
Then
says...
if I have to, the parents are like, "No, you need to train your kid."
Yeah, right. You do, though, for their safety. You really do. And so they understand how to interact with animals. And she says, "I just say no. I'm sorry you can't pet him. I've encountered some truly aghast 4-year-olds since I put this new policy into place. They're shocked that they cannot rush, hide, poke, and pet my dog. I had a kid get all up in my grill and say, 'What dog doesn't like kids?' I didn't respond, but I wanted to say, most dogs do not like kids who are loud, unpredictable, running at them, or who are not gentle or kind. And anyway, you are not touching my dog." This new policy is not universal because I do think that socialization is important for my dog, and he really is a gentle soul and a good boy. I want him to have positive interactions with children, and yes, I recognize that he likely is the most adorable dog in the entire world. I mean, who would not want to scratch his ears and look into his gorgeous eyes? Of course you do. We can even talk about how he is a rescue if you want to, but I reserve this special privilege for the kids that approach softly, the ones that are quiet, and the ones that are drawn to the dog because they genuinely love animals. They are not being pushed over by their parents. They approach on their own and politely ask permission to pet my dog. They are happy to meet him. They want to know him. This gives me a chance to get him out from under the table and sitting and ready to greet them. He's trained for this. He knows the drill. He wags his tail and then sniffs their ears. He is big on sniffing little kids' ears. He says hello, they pet him, and then after a minute or so, I tell them that he is done. Now, thank you. And that is that. This is the most, I find that this is the most powerful statement of a piece, and that is, any dog can bite, no matter how well socialized or friendly they are. Training and socialization are an important part of preventing dog bites. The part she admits to missing was preventing interactions that may cause a dog to feel cornered and stressed. She found it liberating to realize that a dog is not here for general consumption, and she doesn't have to put him or anyone at risk because she's trying to be polite, and I think that's a big issue. It's okay to say no. She said it's not that she doesn't trust him, it's the humans who have not had basic obedience training that she doesn't trust. Remember when we were with Mr. Twix at the Apple store?
Yeah.
And I asked the girl who was helping us to not approach Mr. Twix and ignore him, and explained his situation, and she went ahead and she tried to pet him.
Yeah, and he reacted.
It wasn't pretty. And he was newly rescued. I'm saying rescued, we saved him. We saved him from the desert. And learning to be around people, it was compared to today, it's leaps and bounds. And it could have ended in a really bad way, but fortunately we were just left with like flipping heartbeats going a million miles an hour. And I feel the same way. I mentioned this before. I feel the same way about rescue dogs on red carpets and at events. I am 100%. This is how I am. It's common. You will see this at events. I'm an absolute stickler when it comes to handling of dogs in these situations and the welfare. I don't want to see dogs on red carpets. I prefer not to see them unless they're handled properly. And this is how I feel about it. I care only about the welfare. That's that. Not so much about a photo op. I really don't. In my past events, I've made it a point to not have dogs on the red carpet. And what I object to is the manhandling of dogs by strangers. A rescue dog who is still adjusting to being in a rescue, being with a foster, being with other people and other animals, they've got a lot going on, and they may be coming from abuse situations, and I know rescues want to get them adopted and expose their rescue and these animals to potential adopters, but at what cost? That's how I feel about it. They're highly stressed. It's too much stimulation, and it's stimulation they've never experienced, so it's very, very foreign, and often people are loud. They don't know how to handle a dog, and often they've been drinking, because that's what people do at events, big events, and the flashing cameras and just general chaos, really. And people want to pose with them. They want to pick them up. They want to perform, and give us a paw, like we sort of said earlier. They want to sit. I've seen dogs sat on top of fire hydrants on red carpets, which is just wrong with shock collars. And I've even seen a local celebrity grab a dog's floppy ears and lift them up just for a photo op without zero regard for the dog's welfare. Zero. And I was outraged when I saw it. My suggestion, if you were to do this, my suggestion would be bring a dog or dogs early. They're the first on the red carpet, and they get picked before everybody else. And while it's still calm, you don't let anyone handle the dogs. They stick with their foster parent, whatever. And then you take them home. You can have a plan for someone to pick them up and take them home if you need to be at the event. And that's it. No more. That's it. They're not there to entertain you and make you look good. They're not props and they're not toys. So this struck a chord with me, this article. I thought it was fantastic. She does have a book, by the way. Ooh, I thought I had a link for the book. I will put it up, though, on Facebook because I bet I like how she writes. That would be... Oh, yes. Oh, no, I don't have it. Anyway, the book is called Lucky Dog by Dr. Sarah Boston. It's my kind of sense of humor and a great way to convey that. Well, how long do we have left, Jim? Are we?
You got about half a minute.
Oh.
Yeah, you got a lot of stuff going on today.
I do have a lot of stuff going on. I got one more thing, but I don't have enough time to cover it. But I think we've had some really good news in the show today. Very good news. It was a
very positive show today.
Very positive. Nosey is free. Those ponies are free. Let's hope we see lots more of this. Congratulations to our friend Joan Lockley of the West Midlands Hedgehog Rescue on being selected as one of the 100 masters. I think that's wonderful. She deserves that. We've learnt that we better keep feeding our dogs because they're not going to be able to do it themselves.
Right? Or they expect us to because they're smarter than the average wolf.
That's right. And the brand new ordinance they're trying to get in place in Tampa for dog trainers. It's all going in the right direction. It's all the stuff I wish to see. It's very, very exciting. And it's been a great week for news. A really, really great week for news. Very, very happy about that. Good week for animals this week. Well, Jim, that is that.
It is.
Remember.
Once again.
Lightning
fast.
I know it was today. Remember, you can help an animal in need. Either rescue, adopt, donate, volunteer, or share their information. Rescue your next family member. Replace the word shop with adopt. And be kind to all animals. Thank you so much for being here today. Take a moment, like our Facebook page, follow us on Instagram and Twitter, and always post the pictures of your pets on our Facebook page. Don't be shy. Tell us their names and what makes them so special to you. We love to see pictures of them. Today, you've been listening to Vegas Rock Dog Radio. It's all about pets, people, and pop culture. And I'm your host, Sam. I am the queen of rock and roll dogs, and I always kiss your pets good morning and good night. And I'll see you next time.
You've been listening to Vegas Rock Dog Radio. Pets, people, pop culture.
Visit Vegas Rock Dog Radio for more information. Find us on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. And subscribe on iTunes and iHeartRadio. And remember, give your fur babies a big kiss from me, Sam, the queen of rock and roll dogs. You must not rely on the information in this broadcast from our host as an alternative to medical advice from your veterinarian. If you have any specific questions about a medical matter regarding your pets, you should consult your veterinarian or specialist.